My name is Dante Dumas. I was just interviewed on KeithAndrewNetWork. He's doing an outstanding job. He's putting out a positive message, and you guys should check him out anytime you can.
My name is Ziba Toyouri, and I was invited to join Keith Andrews' show, and I absolutely love it. This show is amazing. You learn so much, and I do definitely recommend you joining the show with Keith Andrew. He's doing a fabulous job.
All right, so the first question I want to ask you is, you mentioned that you are a professional actor and a comedian. So the first one I want to ask you is, what makes you different as a stand-up comedian?
I would say what makes me different is the fact that especially a lot of beginning comics, they don't do film, so they don't understand the aspect of it, because they're only usually on stage 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And then that's it. They don't understand the process of doing film, doing TV. And I've been there and done that. So I can kind of intertwine both.
No, you bring up a good point. And there's so many great comedians out there: Eddie Murphy, Robin Williams, George Carlin, Ronnie, also his freaking name, Ronnie Davisfield. You look at the classic ones from the 80s and 70s, and most of these people are professional actors. Look at Robin Williams and George. Okay, George Carlin wasn't an actor, professional actor, but he did some acting, but he will always be known as someone who did stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're very funny, it's kind of like the same entertainment world. So you're only entertaining people in different kind of venues, but at the end of the day, you're just making people laugh.
This is true.
So the other question I want to ask you is, who were some of your favorite inspirations for being a stand-up?
Richard Pryor was one. I remember as a kid having to sneak downstairs to catch him, or my mom had a couple of his stand-ups on VHS, and having to sneak downstairs and pop in a tape to watch all of this X-rated, R-rated stuff that I wasn't allowed to watch. But it was just something about him, and even Eddie Murphy's earlier stuff that made me want to do what they were doing. Red Fox, George Carlin, and then we get into the newer comics. I like Chris Rock, and even Chris Tucker. That's all I can think of right now. I know there's just a bunch of them swimming through my head. But yeah, it takes a lot. I tell anybody that wants to try it and do what I did. I went to an open mic and to do 3 minutes of material. It doesn't ever seem like a lot, but when you're standing in front of maybe max 5 or 6 people, it takes a lot more to make those 5 or 6 people laugh than a room full of 10 to 20. So fun times.
And half of them are drunk anyway.
Later on down the line, you want to hope that they've been drinking, because it makes the more they drink, the funnier you seem to get.
That's true. That's what they say about my talk show. So we're gonna go over to box 2. So the question I want to ask you is, what makes you? Well, let's add another part to that. How would you describe your acting style? And don't forget, you're box 2.
I'm box 2. Well, I'm My genre is drama. I have done comedy, and I think I did a really good job at it too. But because of my strong personality, I guess it kind of pops out. I've heard that many, many times. Perhaps a lawyer, a strong mom figure, head of a national
crime organization.
I could do it.
Oh, there is a show out there, Queen of Southland, and that seems to be a big thing on the USA Network.
You so much. Do you believe me?
I'm a little scared.
I could do that too. I could play poor me.
I don't know which one's worse, the mob boss or the poor me. I don't know which one I should fear more.
I don't know. Which one do you want me to do?
Anytime a woman is like poor me, that's a scary subject. So yeah, no.
Well, somebody got to play it, you know.
So the other question I want to ask, going back to box 2, is tell me about what you're working on right now.
Well, the pandemic allowed me a lot of time to become extremely creative. I started writing and writing and writing, and it turned out to be a really good script. My teacher, who used to be a director, read it, and he said, "This is great." So we are absolutely turning it into a movie. My head is this big right now with all the information and all the little things that I have to put together, the breakdown, location, how much time do we need for each scene, wardrobe. We're 2 people putting all of this together, which is, a job of 20 or more people.
Mm-hmm. This is why I like to be in front of the camera. I don't want to do all of that. That's just, my brain would probably explode. So, hey, kudos to you. Good luck. The odds forever be in your favor, because I could not. Nope. Nope.
I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of good because I have ADD, so I can't sit still. I used to, when I was growing up, watch wrestling, and I used to watch, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I used to have my action figures, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and I used to reenact what I saw on TV. Now, when I watch Monday Night Raw, I'm like, I can't sit here for another 2 or 3 hours. It's only been 5 minutes, and I'm about climbing up a wall. So I'm at the point of my life right now, I have to be active. I have to do something like my talk show, the editing and asking questions and doing special effects. I have to be stimulated. Sitting here with a stick up your ass, like, okay, the women are on? Okay, great. Okay, now it's the segment again. Okay. And you look at AEW, they're doing so many great things, but be honest, I kind of fast forward through the stupid matches. Like, I don't even know who the hell most of these people are. It's kind of like, okay, Christian Cage, Big Show, people from Impact Wrestling. I know who these are. I'm going to watch it. And it's like, who the hell is Jungle Boy? Who the hell is this person? It's kind of like when you see something and you're like, okay, if it's colorful, It's kind of like, look at the pretty colors. But if you have to sit there and pretend you're interested in something but you're really not, let's go back to what we we're talking in the first episode. Well, baseball. I like the idea of going to a baseball game because for me, it's a day out. You get food, you get a drink, you watch, people run around on the field. Sometimes you see a beautiful woman. Hey, it's a nice day out. But if you say, who's your favorite baseball player? I'm like, I have no idea. I just came to lots of games. So for me, I have to be stimulated. What about you? I know you're a diehard Yankee fan.
Yeah, I would say so. I also would say for me, I mean, if I catch a Yankee game at home, I'm all for it. But baseball in general is always more fun when you get to go to live games.
Right.
And I still know who my favorite players are, but I would go, living in LA, I would go to a Dodger game just because, well, one, the Dodgers came from Brooklyn, so I would go just on that. But to be in the atmosphere and, like you said, the food, the drink, the watching the players live, there's a certain atmosphere that just takes me back to being a little kid and playing stickball or playing a pickup game in the backyard. So it's always more fun. And I say that, all across the board for all sports. It's one thing to sit at home and watch them, and I love football from August to February, but it is always a different atmosphere when you get to go and watch the games live.
No, absolutely. I was just interviewing in person because I would love to buy you guys, food and everything. But when you sit in the room, you can feel the energy, and it's different because you can reach out and shake the person's hand. And doing it online, yes, it's great. I hate talking on the phone. That's one, I hate listening to myself, speak. That's why I don't watch my old episodes, because I really don't want to listen to myself speak. But yeah, if you notice, for my fans out there, if you listen to my interviews I do on the phone and compare them to video, the video is more entertaining because one thing I notice is I say a lot of stupid things when I'm talking on the phone. And someone asks me a question and like, oh, where you stand on Joe Biden? Okay, he's great. Wonderful. What the hell was that? Oh, wait, you can't see that. But when you do the video, you can say, what's that standing behind you? And it's more entertaining. It's kind of like hanging out in person, but you kind of have like safety glass. But for me, it's like I can text somebody, but don't ask to talk on the phone. I'm more of a people person. I have to see who I'm talking to. But it's true. Like we'll go back to what we're saying about it's different. As the professional wrestlers, one of the questions I was asked. I'm not a professional wrestler, but one of the questions someone asked, who's a talk show host, said, "Do you like performing in front of a live crowd or an empty arena?" And I said, it's horrible, an empty arena, because during the whole we're still in it, unfortunately, the pandemic, they wrestled in empty arenas and you can hear a pin drop. That's how dead and boring it was. Live crowd, The Rock is a perfect example of this. You can cut the electricity with a knife. That's how exciting, 55,000 people jammed in to sold out arena to, I'm in this gymnasium by myself. You hear that? Crickets. Well, at least we have crickets in the audience. But, it's completely different. So back to, how do you feel about acting, behind the scenes? And your dog agrees. I do appreciate that. Thank you. But how would you feel about acting in front of people and compared up doing private practicing?
How do I feel about acting Well, I think everything has its own place. For me, when I act, I'm somewhere else. I'm away from the norm. I can be anything or anyone I want. I can put my creativity to action. With other things, well, it's life. It really doesn't go exactly the way you want it to. So there's a lot of compromise there.
Well, I think this question you would find more interesting is what experience do you have for writing? Because I did see you write scripts, but what about changing a script to television? Someone told you have to write something for television. Do you think you would be up for it? For an example, if you had to write something for my show to make it a lot better, what would you write up?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
Well, we can always go to box one, I'll tell you, if you need time.
Well, I think if you wanted to improve anything, since you, if I may say so, since you are interviewing a lot of entertainers, and in entertainment, they say for the person, for the interviewer to stand out, the back needs to be less busy. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention about my background. And you can see this over the years, season 1, season 2. And I can give you guys a quick highlight right now. When I first started, what you saw on the reflection, it's pretty, you can't see anything, but you see it in the recording. As you saw it on the screen, that's what
I can't see the screen.
Oh, don't worry, you see it in the video.
Okay.
But the point is, in the beginning, I didn't want to be seen. And it's about the guests. It's not about me. Then later on, when I came across Skype Recorder or Ecamm for $40, great deal, only if they actually fixed that. But at the time, it was 2015. But, I had to decorate my brother's bed. I had like these stand-up things. I worked for Toys R Us. They were throwing them out like, oh, can I have the stand? Can I have this poster? Can I have this? Can I have that? And I had to decorate everything behind me. And then I was like, I want it to look more professional. And then I came across Zoom this 2001, I think like a year ago, 2 years ago. And then I'm like, oh, cool. I can do like a background. I can have different themes. Like if you guys saw my holiday episode, and I would love to have both of you a part of that, it will be this December. It's got to be like, the same background, but what a Christmas theme to it. And people are like, great logo. Can you make it smaller? And I made this by accident. Don't even ask me how I made something like this. This logo was made 2014, 2015. I don't even remember what the hell I was using then. I was even lucky enough to have something like this. Season 10 will have a different background. But, I wanted to be different. I'm a big wrestling fan, obviously, you guys know. So every season has an introduction, a theme song, a theme. One episode, I wasn't even wearing dress shirts. I was kind of like wearing the type of shirt my friends wearing in box 1. That's more laid back, but it still was professional. And now I'm like, okay, let's do something different from season 2. And obviously, we're doing double interviews. I do group interviews. I do one-on-one. The reason I like double interviews is because I have ADD. So it's nice to do one-on-one interviews. But after doing 800 one-on-one episodes, it kind of gets, no offense, kind of gets old. And you want the audience to be stimulated. You want them to be fun and more interactive. And now we do double interviews. We do, well, if you look at the box, it kind of looks like a triple threat. Then we have like a fatal four-way interview. Then we had like a six-pack, and these are all wrestling terms, by the way. We have a six-person interview. And so I'm trying to make the format saying, hey, this was last season. Yes, I may ask some new questions, or I may throw this paper out and come up with some other questions, but it's constantly evolving. It's always going to get better. As you guys are actors and stand-up comedians, your acting will get better. Your stand-up coming up will get better. I'm not saying it's anything bad. I say your timing will be, for me, my dad always says to me, and don't quit your day job because you're not funny. And I know I'm not funny. When I'm sarcastic, it's funny. But my timing and the questions, and there's so many different things you can, say, and, what about me, poor me. If you have something to work on, you're only going to get better. You, at the end of the day, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and smile, you're doing something right. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror, you're doing something wrong and you have to change yourself. You are your own worst enemy and you are your own worst critic. And that's something I'm overcoming. But with the last 6 minutes, I'm going to pass it up to you guys, as we did for the first one. Was there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about? You can ask me anything. You can ask each other anything, professionally, of course. But you can ask each other anything. So we're going to pass over, this time, box 2.
Well, you actually asked me if I could write for a television. Yes, I could do series. The way I wrote my script right at the moment, this script that I'm working on, it can be definitely turned into series. And I know exactly how to go about it.
I definitely hit you up about that because I want to do my show, not like I have so many pieces. I have like 40 questions, but I don't want to say, you asked me this in the last interview, you asked her this in the last interview. Say, okay, well, I have another 40 questions. But how many times when you have so many questions, you're going to repeat it over and over, or you say, okay, start from bottom, top, or you got to go bottom to top. But if you have more of a script and it's more laid out, it will be better. What about you with your stand-up? I know obviously you don't stand on the stage with a script, say, oh, this joke is funny, because you want it to be spontaneous. You want it to be fluent. So for people who have disabilities who want to follow in your footsteps as a comedian, what would your words of wisdom be?
Just to do it. You really can't. I learned a long time ago that you can't, and I was told a long time ago, you can't really teach funny. You can learn how to orchestrate and format your jokes, but the idea of actually being funny is something that you really can't teach. I would just suggest that anybody that wants to do it, to go to an open mic and to do 3 minutes and then see what the response is, and then kind of play it back in your head and say, okay, well, this joke worked, this one didn't, let me keep this one. And that's all we ever do is I'm always writing new stuff, and I always start my shows with 2 or 3 jokes that I know have worked in the past. And what we tend to do is you start with what you start with what works, and then you throw 2 or 3 jokes in the middle to see what the audience reaction is going to be. And if it works, you write it down and keep it for later. If it doesn't, say, okay, this one's trashed, and go from there. And that's how you build your set. So, but yeah, anybody that wants to, learning disability or otherwise, anybody that wants to try it, go to any open mic in the city and just try it. It's the only way. I said I was 19 first time I did it, and I went to an open mic in Manhattan, and I just did it. And I didn't at that time. I didn't write anything down. I didn't have a formatted set. I was just talking to the audience, and for 3 minutes it worked. And like I said, I had to learn later on how to organize and how to time jokes and time my set, but that came way later. So in the beginning, just it takes a lot of courage for anybody to stand on stage and talk to an audience in that form. So if anybody that feels they have the cojones to do it, then go. What's the worst that can happen?
It's true. You know, my dad said about teaching, you know, you're standing in front of students for 45 minutes, and you have to make them laugh. And then the more you get them entertained, the more they're going to learn something. I had teachers who were freaking god awful, and you couldn't wait to get a run out of the room. Run so fast, you got to be vapor trails. But the more the teacher, it's funny and interactive, the more the time passes, number one, and the more you actually learn. I was going to say this in our first interview, but I will say this real fast, and we're going to go end the show with box 2. You know, as you mentioned, the Dodgers, well, history question, you may or may not know this, but I think you do. Did you know that before they were called the LA Dodgers, they were actually called, now you're putting me on the spot, I think they were called the Brooklyn Dodgers. Mm-hmm. I found that out yesterday. I thought it was very interesting.
Yes, the Dodgers originally came from Brooklyn.
And they didn't want to go to Queens, so they went to LA. So I guess they hated Queens, right?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Now going to box 2. You know, what's the last 2 minutes? I'm going to pass it over to you. Do you want to say anything to our audience? Anything you want to say wrapping up?
Well, I want to compliment you because you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job.
What's the name of your film?
And bring a hand. Join me on Facebook and you'll find out.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up, I do have a couple questions for you guys off the air, but I'm really thankful you guys put up with me for a second time. I know the first one was like throwing crap against the wall, see what sticks, but this one, it was more fluent. Thank God it didn't freeze, you know, because, you know, I don't know if it's the internet connection or the computer. I don't know, but it was so much better than the first one. But as I said, by being on the show, you're supporting the message and you're making a new friend out of it. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. They kind of think, what am I going to get out of it? But that's a different story for a different day. But I do want to say this December will be a Christmas holiday episode. I would love to have you guys a part of that. Once I get a date, I'm definitely let you know. I know it's a year ahead, but June 10th of next year, this upcoming June, it's going to be my 9-year anniversary. Love to have you guys a part of that. For our fans and listeners, make sure to subscribe to our friends on Instagram. Their names will be on the bottom of the screen. And but wrapping up our interview, it was a real honor and privilege having you guys on the show. I want to say thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to part 3 down the road. I just want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Keith, thank you so much. I actually found our conversation here delightful. I'm enjoying myself. You are a great talk show host. And it's very interesting. For me, it's very interesting to meet different kind of people. So I'm having a good time.